Hey guys, what's going on? It's RogerDeath here. I'm running something a little different because I've been playing this game a lot, and it's kind of why I took a break for last week. Was I've been playing this game pretty much non-stop. It is Crusader Kings 2. It's by Paradox, and I've been really enjoying this game. So if you haven't played it, it's a I forget it doesn't work like that on this map. It's a very grand strategy game. And what do you mean by what do we mean by grand strategy? Well, we mean it's not just your standards like StarCraft or something. It's colonization, it's civilization, it's risk. It's kind of all these kind of shoveled into one. It's real time. You can pause it. It has multiplayer. Haven't tried that out, but I hear it's supposed to be pretty cool. But like I said, I've obviously not done it, so I could not tell you right away what it is. So I'm gonna do a playthrough of this. Try and do 15-minute increments. I got time. I got a stopwatch going over there, and I wanted to. I'll try and explain things as I go, but there's a lot of things that I'm still very iffy on, even though I've played it for a lot of time. So the first thing you notice is, yeah, there's a lot of countries. I have all the DLCs, but I'm not using the Somerset Isle or the Somerset Invasion, or whatever the hell it is. The one where the Aztecs can invade you. Yeah, because that makes sense. So I'm not running that one, but that's the only one I'm not running. So we're going to start out with the Old Gods, January 1st, 867. And, you know, I can select pretty much anybody to play as. I think I can even select to play as the Pope. I can. I never checked to see if I could. But I play as King Ivar the Boneless and his guys, and it's a decent start. You get some nice forces to begin with. The biggest problem is going to be taking care of England proper. Scotland and Ireland are pretty easy to take care of if you know what you're doing. That said, I'm going to change the character. Yeah, he'll be Norse. The beards in this game, man. Some of them just look like crap. Most of the hairstyles do too. Also the headgear. Headgear's pretty bad too. Don't really care much besides that. Sure, we'll go with that. Just setting my character up real quick. So, appearance really doesn't matter. Coat of arms really doesn't matter. It just helps identify a person, right? So, here's where things get interesting. Obviously, you get to choose your character. You get to name them. You can choose if they're married. You can choose their culture. You can choose their religion. Type of education they received. And there are a bunch of different stats in this game that are important to know, such as diplomacy, which how well you can deal with other nations, martial, how well you lead troops, stewardship, how well you can lead your nation, how many not cities, but like how many counties you can have under your direct control and not a vassal. Um, Intrigue, how good you are at plotting to kill people and something and stuff like that. And then there's learning, how well you learn stuff. Health is a hidden stat most of the time, and so is fertility. You can change it here though, and changing a stat does increase their age. So I'm just gonna increase kind of them all up here to 8. I guess that does make me middle age. But that's okay. Normally IR starts at 48, so that I can do more with this. And then there are a bunch of different types that you can get here. I'm actually going to go with the Indulgent Wastrel. So we're going to remove one from here. We're going to remove a few from here, add one here, and add one here. This gives me stewardship, but I lose diplomacy. And let's add a trade on, sure. A lot of these are pretty bad. The ones you see taking penalties are bad, obviously. The ones that are in red are ones that are good for you and are very beneficial. Heck, you know what? I think it's actually quicker if we just do this. Most literally, because it is a quick trait. We just drop everything back down to 5. It's actually the exact same. Maybe a year difference. Add some health in. Make it less likely to die. I can't believe adding each small little point has that huge of an effect. So this is going to be our character. We're going to play in the petty kingdom of Sudrayar at first, but we're going to be expanding really quickly. So first things first, the interface. Let's go over that for a bit to explain things. Obviously, minimap, wars and the war score for them. I'll explain more on that a little bit later. There's a bunch of different map filters, like there's the terrain filter, which nobody ever uses because it's terrible. Because, I mean, look, you see, I mean, yeah, you can see how many holdings there are pretty easily, but you lose track of where each city is really easily. In addition, it kind of clouds things up. It's a lot, like, you can't tell what nation's what here as opposed to this. This is the most common one to use, and you can still see everything. There are other ones like seeing where you have good diplomatic relations with, who has what religion. I am currently Norse, pagan, so I don't follow the church. Who's got what culture? I am Norse, I believe. Yeah, I'm Norse. Economy, the de jure empires, so you can see. So if you have all of this, or at least 80% of it, you can create the Empire of Britannia. Not the kingdom, the empire. If you want to do the kingdom, there's actually a few that make it up. I always forget about that. There's Wales, there's Ireland, there's Scotland, there's England. You know, there's a bunch of different ones. And there's the duchies, which are petty kingdoms, which is basically what I am right now. But there's a bunch of different minimap modes down here that you can use. Here's where you get your notifications on what all is happening. There are sorts out to high priority things like receiving a courtier apparently in Ivar the Boneless, which is actually kind of funny because that's who you normally play as. And there's minor ones which we don't have anything on. There's this little ledger thing here, but I actually don't use it very much. I usually just let it stash away over there. So we get the date. See, it's paused here. It's unpaused and it's moving extremely slowly. So I leave it paused for now. You get your wealth, which usually measured in gold, but it's usually just mentioned as wealth. Prestige, your monthly gain and everything. Piety, which is, you know, how close to God or gods are you. Your demons, it helps when you can speak. Basically, how many provinces, castles, cities, temples, etc., 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 counties, everything down on, you can hold on to at once. Kingdoms, like full-out kingdoms and empires, don't count against that. The realm size, which is how many holdings you have total, including what your vassals do, and your score, which is basically just made up out of what you get from your ancestors. No, so other things. Your character is always going to be presented up here with his personal crest, or the crest of where he is at the moment. A bunch of different little taskbars here. And some very important notifications right here. For example, I don't have an heir for my dynasty. If I die, the game ends. So hopefully I don't die in the first episode. That would kind of suck. I am unmarried, and I have an ambition. So let's go in and check out the first of these like 60 million menus. And as I say this, I realize I'm on the 10-minute mark, so we're going to be going probably a 30-minute episode for this one. Shows the crest of the family. You know how big of a deal you are. You know, you can start out small usually. You can get some big ones like the House of Mercia, which has 35 prestige to start out with. But anyway, you know, your name, you, an heir of your dynasty if you have one, wife slash, you know, husband or whatever, state diplomacies and everything. All these numbers were told you are important. And again, it's the wealth, prestige, piety, and everything. Here are the traits you have. We selected indulgent wastrel, which gives us stewardship in exchange for diplomacy, and quick, which gives us +3 to everything. We have currently have the titles of Petty Kingdom of Sudrayar, County of Sudrayar, and the County of Argril. Now, I can choose an ambition, and what this is I aspire to do something. We're going to do something really easy at first, and we're going to go with the get married ambition. Very easy to do. So then you just do arrange marriage. These are a list of people that will marry you. If you click this button, if you go in through here, it's a lot more difficult. So I need to just, I don't think it really matters at this point. I'll figure out, sure. Yeah. So we're gonna get married in a few turns. So then, you need to get on into these wars. Thankfully, I've got a lot of troops here. Now, in the past, I've always been a dumbass and haven't really understood how to wage this first war. So let's go over. Oh, yeah, let's go over this right now, and then we'll while we have our troops moving, I'll explain what the rest of it is. So we've got, you know, a few armies here that we can use. I love how it says it's King Ivar, but there's no King Ivar. No king. No Ivar. Ivar Ivering is here of House Ivering, but it's not important. Technically, it's Ragnar's son, but regardless, it's not important. So, I've got 2 wars right now. First is with the Sons of Lodbrok invasion of East Anglia, and that's going on with the brother, who is, I believe to be him. Yeah. He is my brother, I think. Siblings, yes. I'm his brother. So, and as is the Petty King of Sibsbold, which is up over here. He's got the most territory out of everybody right now, but we're getting ready to do some invasions. So he's going to try and conquer some territory. So I've got the war for East Anglia and the war for... It's technically the invasion of Lothian, but the title I'm trying to get is the Kingdom of Scotland. So this is East Anglia. It's really not a good idea to go rushing for, because I mean it's out of the way. You have Sudrayar. Here are the 3 or 4 places you have right here in this deep blue. It's not necessarily smart to go down here, because that creates this big ass gap between the rest of your group, the rest of your army. So what we're gonna do, oh, and I can't even see the war score. -1 for everybody. Okay. Yeah, that's not quite so good. It's getting cut off a little for you guys, it looks like, too. Sorry about that. So what that means is we have war score is the way of saying how willing somebody is to give in and what they're willing to give up Basically, the higher the war score, the more likely they are to give in to your demands. Uh, Whereas low ones, you might be lucky to get a white piece. If not, you're just going to have to completely surrender, and they get bonuses instead. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to work on getting like all of these territories here. I won't get all of them. I'll get some of them. I'll probably get these 3 here. In fact, we can even see. Kingdom of Scotland is de jure. Yeah, I'll get these 3 here. De jure, by the way, as far as I know, it's basically meaning what normally encompasses it. It's what technically encompasses the whole thing, yeah. So we're going to take each of these armies, we're going to move them individually. Instead of having them all move as a one group. The exception will be with this guy and this guy, because they're actually first one's really small. So we're gonna move. Well, actually, let's pause it. So there are a few other things that we need to know before we really start playing the game. There's the council here. Why is the council important? It's because they all have their own jobs that they need to do. For example, chancellors they'll obviously do the diplomatic relations. They can make they can make other nobles hate their liege. They can fabricate claims which allow us to attack somewhere if we don't have another casus belli, or basically reason to. Marshal, who, leads troops, trains troops, suppresses revolts. Steward, which money, basically. Spy master, he kind of spies on people, steals technology. And the seer is the connection to God, basically. So they all have They all have their 5 stats, but only one matters for each one, and that's based on which one it is. We have a better chancellor. We don't have a better chancellor because this guy's got one of 13. Closest is a 10. Do we have a better marshal? We might. We do. An Ivar. So I'm going to switch him out with Ivar, which increases everything, but he's currently leading troops, so he could die. We have a 13 for stewardship. It's best we can get there too. Spy master for 12. Oof. So in the beginning, I'm not going to have anybody do anything except for the spy master. I'm going to place him all the way over here in the capital, the Byzantine Empire, so you can start stealing technology points from them. Next up, we have the Laws tab, which I actually can change basically nothing because I'm not actually a king. I can basically just change what my gender laws are, or I can make it so that people have to pay me more. But that's all I can really do right now. Once you become a king or an emperor, usually it's king then emperor, obviously, you're able to change how much people give you of their army. Here's our technology tab. Split up between military, economic, and cultural. And they've all got their own little different things. As time goes by, we'll get points in it that we'll spend on researching these things. And they all have their own aspects. Like noble customs makes it so that our feudal vassals, like the duchies, the guys in charge of counties, the guys in charge of the castles, they all have a better opinion of us just right away. Straight down to things like legalism, which give us extra demons. Basically, we can control more territory, damn it. I don't know how to say that word. I hope that it's like 6:13 in the morning of the day this is going up. Hi, guys. I don't sleep much anymore. Or if I do, it's like I go to bed at like 7 or 8. I have a really bad sleep schedule, especially given school starts soon. But so every province has their own values for these, and even within your empire, it'll change. So you have to be really careful on it. The military, Retuines, which is basically your standing army. It's expensive and we don't really get to use a whole lot right now. The army levies, which are how much your vassals and yourself are able to raise and how many troops you're able to get to fight for you. It costs, if you raise yours, it costs gold. There is a maximum you can raise based on how much they like you, laws and such. And there's the fleet levies, which are basically that except for boats. Each galley or whatever it's called, each one carries about 100 troops. So I could actually carry all of the main army, but not this this invasion force. It's a little big. And then we have the intrigue menu where you do all your plotting and stuff. Really not a good idea to do this right away. We're going to worry more about our army that we have here. So we'll finish up these two wars, and I think they'll in the episode today. Then there's the factions tab. None here yet because lol, we just started. And religion, where we can see how our religion is. We have shitty moral authority, but that's not surprising. So now then, I'm gonna increase the game speed up to 3, indicated by 3 chevrons here. And this is to make the game go a little bit faster. I usually play on speed 4, but it's really hard to tell what's going on. So here's our first event that pops up. We got married. Now, I have 2 choices on what I can do here. I can make it so that people give me 14.55 gold, or I get 100 prestige. And, well, my prestige is a little lacking, but so is my gold, and gold's worth a lot more early game, so we're going to take the money. And basically we're just saying, yeah, we agree, you guys should get married. So, now I fulfilled that ambition. I have to pick another one. So, for this one, we're going to pick the one of... Ooh, that one's tempting, actually. We're actually going to start with the Become Exalted Among Men one. What this is requesting is that we get 1,000 prestige, which it sounds like it's a lot, but it really isn't. I've had people that have had 30,000 prestige in their lifetime because they went on 1,000,000 holy wars. Because they started them and they won the Crusade. Pretty much single-handedly. You get pretty broken later on, if you know what you're doing. It involves a little luck because it's all randomized right up to everything you do. So I can't know if this is going to work right or not. So she arrives at our court. She's the wife. She's technically petty queen of Sudrayar. So we're going to let our troops move out. I'm actually going to move him up here. And we're going to try and mainly siege these provinces that we'll gain. Because they'll help to bring our war score up more. And we just kill the armies outright. After every battle you can see the casualty screen. How much it increases. Usually it'll tell you how much it increases the war score. But if not, you come down here to whoever you fight it with and you can see that raised at 3.37. So this is the Kingdom of Northumberland, yeah. So we lost some troops, but they lost way more. Like see here, it's another one. This is split up between, in this case, I wasn't the aggressor. That's Ragnar's Halfdan's son. Maybe he's only my half-brother. I don't know. And combined, we lost that many troops. They lost a lot more. War score is going to be the big deciding factor for pretty much everything early game. And I can't deal with this. He is too lead for me. Thankfully, I have my ally here that was doing a lot of damage. So in the Battle of Edinburgh, we only took a total of 96 casualties, but we wiped the entire enemy army. So we are now sieging. And basically, we're just sitting here waiting for the morale to die out. So I'm actually going to switch it back up to speed 4. It makes time go by really quickly. But early game, I find it's really necessary because it's... One of the things that a lot of people say is it's a hurry up and wait game. So I've actually got a lot of war score here, but he will not he will not accept my demands. So I'm gonna have to get a lot more war score before he'll do that. I'm losing in East Anglia, but I really don't care about that right now. I want to get this finished first, and if I get East Anglia, it's cool, but it's not a huge deal. Don't really care if he doesn't do too well. So after a siege, I actually managed to pull her out. And interesting thing about the pagans, especially the Norse pagans, is that if you go into the intrigue menu, everybody gets prisoners, right? I go into here. I can actually take her as a concubine, and she cannot refuse because she is my prisoner. It'll piss her off and it'll piss him off. But I really don't care. This gives me better chances of getting an heir, a child, and because it's a concubine, it counts as a legitimate heir to the throne. This is something unique for Norse. Norse here. So this is a little intrigue-based one. It happens when you're doing sieges. So what just happened is basically the enemy troops managed to smuggle in food so that their morale's higher. We're not starving them to death. He's actually sieging my province over here. But so what's a siege? What's the idea of a siege? Well, you put up siege weapons outside, and there's a number of defenders. Usually it's just you lower their morale until they eventually surrender. That's how it usually works. You'll take some casualties, but they'll lose everything, and you move on to the next thing in the province, because usually there's, a few things. You'll notice that it gets the little hash markings when it's completely, well, we'll see in a minute. Took her from the dungeons as well. And she's lustful, so she would be, I'd very likely get a child with her. But she's just going to stay in the dungeons for now. I have plans for her. And now we're just going to wait until that war score looks like it's going to be high enough to enforce demands. It's not going to be high enough at 42, I'll tell you that. Another siege succeeds. You lose troops every time, but, or apparently not every time, just if it's a huge siege. You get money and you get piety from sieges, apparently. I've never really paid any attention to that. So all of them were getting done. So there's 2 bars on the troops. The first one here is morale. The second one, in this case, because it doesn't always appear for all troops, it does right now because we're doing a siege, and it's the progress of the siege. Now these guys only have hash marks because they're not completely done with the sieges, territory, but this one is, so it's completely good. So we're going to come over here, and we're going to start sieging this territory now. We're going to keep this up until we manage to get enough war score to accept their demands. So here, the defenders, aka the guys in the fort, do some attacking. It doesn't work too well. We take some losses, they take more losses, and they lose morale for it. So it was overall beneficial for the attackers. So another successful siege there. We're approaching a war score where he'll have to accept. So enemies so this is a bad one for me because raiders hit the camp and it hits, in this case it hits me. I take 1% of my troops loss, just straight outright dead, which as you can imagine is not very good. Oh, you can see, here it is, change in war score, how much prestige you get, piety. You apparently can get military tech points as well. Did not know that one. Like I said, There's a lot of things I don't know about this game. They can reverse siege you to get rid of it. Ah, there we go. The first faction was founded. And of course it's the independence faction. What this means is somebody in the realm wants independence. Other people in the realm can back him so that they can now get independence if this movement succeeds. If once it gets a certain amount of power backing it, they approach the ruler and they're like, hey, we have enough strength here. We would like independence. And unless you just give it to them, civil war breaks out, and it's a pain in the ass, and it'll happen. Just wait. This is a guarantee. So, are you going to offer? No. Alright, so you need to come up here and break this siege. Dragging another woman out. Oh, the Queen of Northumberland. Oh, that'll actually affect the war score pretty heavily. Not enough, but it did. Siege lengthens because the defending troops got more morale. So we're going to come over here and we're going to attack him while he's sieging, and that's actually really bad for him. So we're going to kill most of his forces. We're going to force his guys to retreat. They're going to go back to Strathern, which is this province here. Meanwhile, we conquered another thing, and we actually have a high enough war score that we're just like, hey, guess what? Your provinces are mine now. So I annexed all of these here because I actually had this one sieged. And I can create the Duchy of Lothian, which is a new title. Gives me extra prestige, but costs me gold, but I've got enough. So we're going to make that. I created the Jarldom of Lothian. So I have too many holdings, and I have the wrong types of holdings. So I'm going to come to my court here and say, hey, I'm going to look at his stats. He doesn't have bad stats. Congratulations, you have gained the county of Northumberland and everything within it, which is cities and temples. Congratulations. Gonna go back to the court. Get another courtier. Ivar the Boneless, I like you. You're a good ruler. I know you are. Except you're ambitious, which means you're not. Never mind. Ambitious is a trait that can be good, but it can also be really bad if it's on your, if it's on one of your vassals, because they want to get your crown. So you do not have it. You're in fact content. That's the exact opposite of it. You can have the county of Tiviotdale. Still have too many provinces, too many stuff. Okay. You are also ambitious, so I guess I'll just give it to Ivar. Because I know Ivar. He's not too bad. He also doesn't have a wife, so that's kind of a big deal. And he's 50. You get the county of Dunbar. And do I have anybody? I guess I can give it to this guy. Sure. Oh, he already has the county of Dunbar. Oh, because he's the... Huh? What? What? Oh, he's the courtier in Sugiar from the county of Dunbar. He actually doesn't hold any titles. Even though he's a kid, we'll give him the city of Edinburgh and the temple of Abercorn. Well, let's see if we can't deal with this East Anglia problem then, shall we? You come down here, you come down here, and you come down here to Jorvik. So I fulfilled my I ambition to become exalted among men, and that actually caused me to get the nickname the Great. So I'm King Leon the Great now. I'm gonna pick a different ambition, and this one I am actually going to. This one I'm gonna pick have a son, because it might be a while before I actually become King of Scotland. So I let me see how many uh, counties I need. I'm gonna need a few more, and I'm not gonna be able to get those so easily. So I'm going to take the ambition of having a son. Taking that makes me more likely to have one. So it's nice to start out with if you lack an heir. So I'm trying to. Okay, so look at that. Jorvik now took over the rest of this, and he is. Actually can't declare war on him without taking penalties. So we're actually going to send our guys down here now to try and deal with the East Anglia problem, because we have a pretty bad war score down here. But it's going to be okay because we just managed to defeat most of his army. Okay, so here's one of the scripted events. It occurs at a set period of time, every time. The Varangian Guard is formed, which is a Greek guard made up of Norse warriors. Come down here, because we're going to need you to deal with... Ooh, it's going to be a close battle. Okay, I did manage to win. I took some losses, but I managed to... I'm breaking this war score up, and I'm forcing his troops to continually retreat, which is really nice. His morale shattered, so it's easier to kill his troops. Like that. He's going to be retreating to Middlesex now. Let's let him. I'm going to come in here to here, yeah. And we are going to just kind of sit here for now. Wait for the war score to tick up. So I have a lot of things here, but a lot of it is just me dragging him out, Oh. Calling somebody into the war down here. Me getting my title. Me handing all the stuff over, getting the new titles. A lot of it is stuff that's really, we kind of already know. Imprisoning the Queen, yeah. It's basically just the big events that happen. Yeah, they're sieging me up here, but they're doing it with a really small army. I'm not too worried about it. Unfortunately, he's gonna succeed in this, but... So, look right away. Wife's pregnant. And I just want to wait. I need to wait for this war score to tick up. Killing the army, it grants you more. So we pulled the Queen of East Anglia out. So that provides a nice war score boost. In addition to the fact that we won the siege. I thought I paused you. We won another siege. So you can see exactly where your points are coming from. So we're just going to finish this warp really quickly. And then we're going to start, after this, we're going to move our guys back up to our area. And then we're going to, in the episode, next episode, we'll start doing this proper. We'll actually start Conquest. On our terms. As it is, we're just going to, I didn't realize I had to pause that entire time. As it is, we're just going to let the sieges play out. And let the war score tick up. I'll also try and fix the resolution issue, because it appears to be a pretty bad one. Will he accept my demands? No, he will not. Attack weekends, it's okay, because normally this would hurt, because I'd have to sit around and wait for my guys to come up to get their life or health back, replenish the levies. But this was a special one-time only army that I got that's able to they're just like, I don't give a shit. These are free troops that I have until they all die, in which case then they're all dead and I don't get them again. So one more siege should put us over. It also was at the beginning of the year, so we've actually played for 3 years now. One more siege did it? Yep. So we can come down here, offer peace, enforce demands. We now own East Anglia. And taken its titles and demise. So let's deal with this first. First of all, we're going to create the Duchy of East Anglia, except I don't have the gold for it. So we're going to spread out everything we got. So you're ambitious, but you don't have a wife yet, so you're not too bad. You get the county of Suffolk. And I need one more male heir. There we go. Barrett Iverson. You get county of Norfolk. I can hold a great blot. Alright, and I can get. Wow, I can already convert to Catholicism. Wow, that's actually really quick. Let's move my guys back up before we do anything else. Well, yeah, we got the money for it. So my truces with Count Ada of Cumberland, who's a vassal of Jorvik now, aka my brother slash half brother slash he's some relation of mine, is expiring soon. And I have enough to create the Duchy of East Anglia, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to give it to this guy, because he's not ambitious. And the reason I'm going to give it to him, he should still be under my power, I thought. Did I mess that up? Apparently I did. Never mind. Wow. So apparently you can't give it away unless you have a higher title. Good to know. Because normally you want to give them away because then you get more troops from your rest of your guys. So we're going to lower our... Actually, we don't have any levies raised. So we're going to call it here. So Europe is mine. So we're going to call this... We're getting into here, guys. So I will see you next episode.